Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to the Library Tour of Doom. This is a library tour going through every book that has ever passed through my conscious awareness in any form whatsoever, even the books out of my dreams. We're going one book at a time at the orders of Lord Ganesha, who thinks you could all do with a bit of sprucing up in the self-control department. He's not happy with any of you. He's not all that happy with me either. He's not happy with most people. But anyway, our book for today is a classic from 1974. It's The Book of Owls. Lovely black and white photography all throughout. This is by Lewis Walker, who was an owl specialist, an ornithology specialist, who had worked at a bunch of museums, wrote a bunch of papers about birds and natural history and whatnot. And this is just exactly what you would think. He takes you through with these beautiful high-quality black and white photos throughout. He takes you through 24 of the most popular kinds of owls, the big marquee species that you might expect a book like this to do. Writes about their natural history in a really engaging way, works in a whole bunch of anecdotes of his own. I myself am fascinated by owls. I always have been. In my more adventurous days, I did quite a bit of owl stalking, which is very different from bird watching. It's very different from bird watching. It requires a lot more danger, first of all, because you're out at night, and also wherewithal, because you've got to find these things where they go. Owls are amazingly good at disappearing. They're incredibly good, which is why if you really want to see one, always remember to pay attention. If you're walking around, you're in a park or a field or the woods, and it's daylight, always remember to pay attention when you hear birds mobbing. When you hear jays or crows all together mobbing someone, they'll make God's own noise when they do it, and it's often an owl that they're picking on, which is kind of heartbreaking, but at least it gives you a chance to maybe see one. I myself used to stalk them at night. And one time, years and years ago, in there's a zoo about a quarter of a mile from where I live, Franklin Park Zoo. It's an old zoo in America, and Franklin Park Zoo is set on the grounds of Franklin Park, which is the zoo is one part of that, but there's wooded areas running all around it. There's a golf course up there too. I used to take my girls walking in Franklin Park all the time when they were much younger. I don't think Frida and I have never gone there. It's just not on the route, so we've never done it. Someday we will, I'm sure. But I was stalking a great horned owl in Franklin Park years and years and years and years ago, and I'd examine pellets, and I'd listen for calls and whatnot, and I knew the thing was there. And I was out one night. There was snow. It was snowing, and I was out at night, hoping that if I was really quiet and just stayed in place, this thing would move around while I could see it. And that eventually happened. I got a very good sighting at night, but I was miserable. And owls sort of require that. If you're lucky enough to spot one just sitting on a branch during the day, it's an unearthly experience. It's unearthly, like for instance, in Iowa and Illinois and in Texas, I would sometimes at twilight see a barn owl take flight from a fence or a piling of some kind in order to fly across a meadow or into a low scrub of trees. And it's amazing when you see an owl, because they make no noise. They make no noise when they fly. That's the whole point. Obviously, that's why they're such successful hunters, because they don't make any noise unless they want to. They can make a whirring kind of noise if they want to, but they can move in complete silence through the air, and that is amazing to see. I think that I have seen a large number of owls. I've probably seen most of the owls that are in here in the wild at one point or another, but only through a remarkable amount of patience and the willingness to leave my dogs, because an owl will just disappear. If you're walking around with a dog, they just there won't be any hint. Ordinarily, though, I can tell you, like for instance in North America is what I can talk to. In North America, if you have walked around with dogs or with humans in the woods somewhere, you have been watched by an owl, almost certainly. They sleep on and off during the day, but they pay attention a lot, and they're perfectly aware of what's going on around them in the outside world. And I have a number of books on owls. I could always stand to have more. Another great big owl book would be wonderful. But I love this one. Absolutely love it. In part, also because of the author's folksy way of writing. I like the way he writes for a general audience. He's addressed a general audience about natural history items for his whole life, so it makes sense that he would be really good at it. So that's your book for today, The Book of Owls. This is from 1974, but I just got it at the Brattle. I think I got it at the Brattle while I had this channel. So and I had to check the publicity sheet on the inside, giving me the publicity number for Alfred Knopf, and also telling me that the publicity department would like 2 copies of any review that I place. That is not me. I double and triple checked. This is not a copy that I was sent in 1974. This was sent to somebody else, which is kind of eerie and interesting in its own way, that somebody else's finished copy eventually made its way to the Brattle Bookshop and then to me, another reviewer who has gotten his share of these kind of publicity notices. Send back in ye olden days when you had to send 2 copies of your review to the publicity department. So that's it. That's your library tour of doom for today. There's a chance that we will be suspending the library tour of doom for the weekend and resuming again on Monday, but we shall see. My filming mojo here is about to get disrupted just a little. I'm going to roll with it. I think we're going to be just fine. But you never know. It might mean, at least at the beginning, no videos for the weekend, including no library tour of doom. I'm going to try not to have that happen, but we shall see. One way or another, we will certainly resume. Just who knows exactly when it will be. Thank you, BookTube.